Oh my goodness, guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gretchen. So a lot has happened since the last time I made a YouTube video. My last video was at 25 weeks and I just kind of stopped making videos after that because I didn't want to make any videos. I was just tired all the time, so I just didn't want to. But little miss decided she was here. She is now 2 months old and she is so fun. Huh. She is just a joy to have around. So we were induced on April 2nd at 5:30 in the morning with her, and I didn't have her till 5:20 that night. And I was induced because I had cholestasis, and I found that we had that at 30 weeks. And basically what cholestasis is that you just get itchy all the time, and you just get itchy kind of, and it has to do with your gallbladder, I think, and your liver for sure. I know it's your liver, but I forgot the other one that it could affect. I think it's your gallbladder. And so with my case, it was my liver, and it did run in my family, I guess that's what my mom said. And so basically how I found out I had cholestasis at 30 weeks is I was going to bed I found out I had it on a Saturday, and I was going to bed and I was itchy and I couldn't sleep, and I was like, okay, maybe I just got bit by like mosquitoes or something like that, but I didn't. And so the next morning I was still itchy, and I was telling my husband, I was like, I'm itchy and I don't think I'm supposed to be itchy this late. And I told my sister-in-law, and she had the same thing when she was pregnant with her second baby, and so she just told me to call my doctor, which I did. And so I called, but since my office was closed on Saturday, I decided to call the on-call nurse. And I told them I was just itchy, I couldn't sleep at night, I'm just itchy constantly. And so they had me go into one of the Instacares that are open on Saturdays and just do blood work. And I had a follow-up appointment to check on how she was doing and how I was doing anyway that next week. And so I went in, and my doctor had her baby a couple months before I had mine. So she was still on a maternity leave during my pregnancy. And so I would switch off between both doctors, and I was supposed to see the doctor that wasn't my actual doctor that I was switching to when my doctor was on maternity leave. So we get there, I got my blood pressure done, and they told me that I would be seeing my doctor. And so I was like, oh. And I just, on the way up to the doctor's office, I just knew they were gonna tell me some bad news. So I get there, and she comes in the room and she said, okay. And I just knew she was gonna say I had it. So I was like, I have cholestasis, do I? And she's like, yes. And she gave me the game plan of what was gonna happen. So basically what was gonna happen is that I was going to be at my doctor's office either twice a week to 3 times a week, because I would go on Mondays, I would go to a different clinic that would watch me. And then Wednesdays I usually had my normal pregnancy checkups, and then Thursdays I would go back. And so I wasn't going every week yet, but I was basically there every week doing testing. So once I started doing every week, they had me just switch my appointments to Thursday, so I would do the monitoring and my normal checkup at the same time. So we did that for a couple weeks, and then I got induced at 37 weeks. So basically what happened, I was supposed to get induced on April 1st because that is when I turned 37 weeks. And so they called me, they told me I was going to come out on March 31st, I think that's the last day. So we went in, and my mom was supposed to fly in the next morning on April 1st, on Easter. And so me and John went into the hospital, and I think I had to be there at 7:30 or 7. And so they got me all checked in. I went back in, they took me to my room, and they just told me to get undressed from the waist down, put my gown on, use the bathroom, whatever, push the button when I'm ready. So I did all that, pushed the button, and then they came in saying it wasn't 37 weeks, and technically it was illegal to induce someone that wasn't 37 weeks. But the thing is that I was turning 37 weeks the next day. And so basically what happened is they just sent us home. But technically they were supposed to, since she was breached, since she was head up, they were going to flip her. And the thing is that my doctor told me that she can still come into the hospital and flip her, and then I can go home. Or the only reason I'd be able to stay is if she was having problems or if my water broke. And so basically me and John asked my doctor, is there a high chance of my water breaking if we do the flip? And she said it only happened to one of her patients, but it's likely it wouldn't happen. And so we just decided, let's just go home. And so my mom came in the next day. And then my mom, me, and John came in on April 2nd, 5:30 in the morning. Did everything I was supposed to. Put my gown on, push the button. So this is where it gets interesting. So they put me on the IV. I did that for an hour. And then after that, they came in and did the epidural. And so since she was head up and I was doing the flip, if she wasn't flipping, I would have to do a C-section. So I got the epidural for a C-section. And just in case things went downhill. And so I got the epidural, and I'm not gonna lie, since I wasn't having contractions, it hurt really bad. And I was crying because it hurt so bad, and I already hate needles as it is. And after that, they gave me 2 pills. I forgot what they were called, but basically they were to help me not get sick during the C-section if I had to get it. So they gave me that, and then right after that, they gave me the shot to relax my uterus. So it was basically, instead of gapping them in between, it was basically epidural pills shot. And so I got super sick, and my dad showed up right when they were doing this. And so I got super sick. I was throwing up. I was shaking. My heart rate was going up. What else? I was sweating. I can't think of what else happened. And so I felt better after throwing up the first time. And then they laid me all the way back to flipper, and then they did the ultrasound to see like where she was exactly. And then I felt like the urge, I was going to throw up again. And so I was like, I'm going to throw up. And so they put me back up, and I threw up again. And they had to wait a couple of minutes for my heart rate to go down because they couldn't flip her without my heart rate going down. And so we waited. They got my heart rate to go down, but I still felt like I was going to throw up. And so I just had them flip her real quick. I was like, just flip her. I was like, I don't want to keep staying in here and just having you guys do a C-section. So they put me down real quick before I threw up again, and then they flipped her, and they flipped her one chance. So everyone was really surprised for first-time mom having the baby flip, because I guess not all first-time moms, if their babies are head up, that they would flip. So she flipped in one try. And then right after that, they switched me, because in my hospital that I delivered at, they have one section where they do C-sections, and you get prepared for that. And then on the other side, they do the natural. And so they wheeled me over there. And so by the time everyone was here, it was my dad, my mom, and John, and me right there going over to the room. And then, so basically after that, it was about, I think 8:30, I think that's the time it was, when we got back to that room. And then, what happened? Oh yeah, so John, my dad, and my mom went down to the cafeteria and got some breakfast because they were gonna put a catheter in me, and then they were going to put like this balloon catheter in that stretches your cervix, and I was at a 1.5, I believe, when they switched me over there. And so they basically said that if once the balloon falls out, that I'll get my water broken. And it's supposed to stretch you to a 4, but mine, it only stretched me to a 2, so it didn't get that far. And so basically what happened is they put that catheter in, and then the nurse was still in when it was falling out. So they grabbed an IV bag, tied it around, and so she just had it hanging off the bed. And the next thing you know, I just kind of like, even though it was numb, I still felt it like come out. Like I just felt the pressure come out. And so she checked me how far I was dilated. She said I was only dilated to 2. And I was FaceTiming my sister-in-law the whole time why they were putting a catheter in, why they were doing this. And they basically told me, so my doctor came in and checked on me, and she said that before she went to the clinic, because there's 2 clinics that she works at. She either works at the hospital or the one that's like 15 minutes away. I think that's how far it was. And so she was at the 15-minute away clinic. And so she said that she'd be back at 5 to check on me after she got done working. But she did call it that she thinks that she was going to be born around 5 p.m. And so after that, she told me that one of the nurses that were, or one of the doctors that were staying at the hospital clinic was going to be here. And then she said that she was doing a C-section around 10 or 10:30 or 11. I can't remember. It was one of those 3 times. I think it was 10:30 because she couldn't be in until 11. So she said that she was going to do the C-section at 11 or 10:30, and that she'd be in my room around 11, but she didn't get into my room around 12, I think. And so they broke my water at 12, and I think I was at a 4. And then I watched a total of 4 movies, I think, during my whole labor. And I just watched 4 movies, and by the time I got done with the 4th movie, I was ready to push. And so after that, they checked my cervix and she left. And honestly, like with the epidural, like I couldn't feel anything besides like in my butt. Like that is where I felt the contractions the most, because they kept switching me from side to side, and that's mostly where I felt the contractions, was just in my butt. And so what else happened? Oh, so like basically when you get the epidural, you can't control your body of what happens. And so John's mom showed up, and so it was my mom, my dad, John, and then John's mom. So we were all there, and then I ended up, like, what happened? Oh, so I ended up, like, passing gas, so I ended up tooting. And I didn't know if I was going to the bathroom on the bed or if it was just a fart. And so I had this weird look on my face, and my dad just asked me if it was a contraction, and I said, honestly, I don't know if I just went to the bathroom or if I was just passing gas. And he's like, you probably just passed gas. And so I was like, okay. And then a couple minutes later, I did it again. And so I just kept passing gas the whole time I was in labor. And then after that, by the time I got to a 9, we texted my sister saying I was at a 9, and she was in school, I think, or she was just getting done with her class. And so she ended up leaving school, coming to the hospital, which was only, I think it was like a 5 to 10 minute drive from where she was at. And so she got to the hospital a couple minutes before I started pushing, and I had John on this side, and John's mom came in and she sat on this side, and then I pushed for about 40 to 45 minutes, and then my dad stepped in by the time I was about to push her out, and then everyone was just like standing right in front of it, so I kind of felt a little uncomfortable. But at the same time, I was just wanting this baby out. I was hungry. I haven't ate since the last day. Like, I don't think I was allowed to eat past midnight, eat or drink anything past midnight. And so I was hungry, and at that point, I was just really tired, and I was like, just get this baby out of me. And so by the time she came out, I was crying. I had a first degree tear, so it wasn't that bad. And she came out at 6 pounds, 12 ounces. Oh wait, just kidding. 6 pounds, 1 pound. Oh my gosh, I can't talk today. 6 pounds, 1 ounce, and she was 19 and a half inches long. And she was born at 5:20 p.m. There we go. Basically, after she came out, I was crying. I was so excited that she was here. I felt bad during my whole pregnancy because I wish I would have recorded everything, of every pregnancy update I had, my birth. I wish I would have recorded my birth, or I wish I had someone that came and took pictures, like professionally done, to capture the moment of me meeting her for the first time, because I wish I would have had that. And I'm definitely gonna be like, even though I was like, what's the word I want to use? Even though I was like so into her pregnancy. I wish on the next baby we have that I'm more into that and have more memories of that. And so that is basically what happened. I basically dropped back to my weight that I was after I had her. I didn't have no chub after. I'll show you my stomach right now, and I am 2 months postpartum today, if I can back this chair out. So that's my belly for 2 months postpartum. Nothing bad. I still do have stretch marks. I didn't get no stretch marks on my stomach. I only got it here. I think I got 2 back here, and then I got some around here. I don't know where it is. Oh, it's right here, but it's not that noticeable. But I didn't get any stretch marks on my stomach. I still do have the line, and only went up to my belly button. But that is basically what happened during my birth story. So if you guys want an update on anything, comment down below, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks for being a part of my till 25 weeks. But I will see you guys next time. Bye.